So these are the Russian casualties per month in Ukraine from the beginning of its invasion last year until the 16th of November this year, according to Mediazona. This section shows the biggest spike in Russian casualties which occurred during the Battle of Bakhmut. As we can see, from the 26th of January to the 1st of February this year, Russian casualties peaked at 651 confirmed casualties that week. What is noteworthy is that of those 651 casualties, 273 were inmates, which were considered Russia's expendable troops and not the experienced soldiers. This lends credence to my analysis in this video here that the Wagner forces in Bakhmut were Russia's second-string army, while their best troops were resting and refitting. Now compare this to the week of the 2nd of November to the 8th of November, where Russian casualties dropped to a low of only 86 for that entire week. This was around the time of Russia's renewed offensive on Avdiivka. Telegram channel Rybar reported that in the Avdiivka area, the Russian army continuously breaks through Ukraine's defenses. On the northern flank, the main battles are taking place near the railway line in the Stepove region, where Kiev forces have recently counterattacked and pushed Russian troops from the outskirts of the village. However, Russia counterattacked and the armed forces of Ukraine withdrew to their original positions. Fighting continues near the Avdiivka coke and chemical plant, where Russia's main focus was on firepower attacks on a powerful stronghold to avoid casualties. Russia also advanced south of Novokarnove, capturing strongholds along the reservoir. By advancing across the railway line, Russia's position significantly improved. West of Avdiivka, Russian assault units with artillery and air support gained key positions in the hills east of Severny. Those lost strongholds worsened Ukraine's situation not only in Severny but also in the south in Povomayorsky. Thanks to a successful breakthrough, Russia advanced along the reservoir. At the same time, the armed forces of Ukraine in this area are showing less resistance than before. Russia's successes are affecting Ukraine's morale, which makes it simpler to attack. Currently, the main problem for the Russian army is the landmines scattered throughout the fields surrounding residential areas. On the morning of the 1st of December, the Marinka front began to move quickly, and a video appeared with a Russian flag hanging in the house on Komsomolskaya Street in the westernmost suburb of the city. However, despite the euphoria, it is still too early to talk about Russia having complete control over Marinka. Kiev's forces still hold positions in the northwest. The difficulties in carrying out offensive operations remain the same. The city is now reduced to ruins, perfectly visible from the air from all sides. Actual fighting took place from basement to basement. There were simply no other shelters in this area. This makes it difficult for Russia to connect controlled boundaries. However, Ukraine encounters similar problems with replenishment. As Russia advanced slowly, it became increasingly difficult for them to supply their defensive positions in the ruins of Marinka. On the evening of the 1st of December, a video appeared showing soldiers of the 12th Motorized Rifle Regiment of the 103rd Russian Motorized Rifle Division reporting complete control of the city of Marinka. There are some reports that suggest on the 2nd of December, the Russian army crushed Ukraine's defensive line in the southwest of Marinka, where the Russian flag now hangs over the tallest houses. However, according to other sources, there are forces still holding positions in the northwestern part of the ancient settlement by Ukraine, which has almost completely collapsed. However, with Russian forces moving south, Ukraine's withdrawal is only a matter of time. Zelensky faces two main problems over the next few months: winter warfare and manpower shortages. Asia Time reports that average temperatures during winter in Ukraine range between minus 4.8 to 2 degrees Celsius, but can drop as low as minus 20 degrees Celsius. These temperatures can hamper weapon and equipment performance, the responsiveness of ammunition, as well as its accuracy, and the wear and tear of equipment cause battery life decreases, leading to increased maintenance. In essence, winter conditions limit the movement of heavy equipment such as tanks and risks locking down the front lines. The mental aspect is also important. The wet and cold can affect the morale of troops without adequate training and preparation, which can lead to decreased battle effectiveness. Ukraine's struggles transcend the front lines this winter, however. Their biggest problem may be the country's damaged energy infrastructure, as a lack of electricity could undermine everything from communications to the operational capacity of field hospitals.
Много шума по поводу наших ударов по энергетической инфраструктуре соседней страны. Да, мы делаем это. Ну кто начал? Кто ударил по мосту по Крымскому? Кто подорвал линии электропередачи с атомной электростанции Курска? Кто не подает воду в Донецк? Неподача воды в миллионный город – это акт геноцида. Никто, нигде словом об этом не обмолвился. Вообще. Молчок полный. Стоит нам только пошевелиться, что-то сделать в ответ. Шум, гам, треск на всю Вселенную. Это не будет нам мешать выполнять боевые задачи.
Russia, on the other hand, has dedicated significant effort to ensuring that their troops can operate in extreme temperatures. For many years, Russia has been deploying troops to the Arctic region to conduct cold weather exercises. Asia Times concludes that given that Russia dedicates significant amount of attention to combat readiness when it comes to winter warfare, and that Ukraine is not nearly as cold as the Arctic, the conditions in Ukraine should not be an impediment to Russian troops. The Financial Times reported on the 26th of November that if, out of the 4 men that lined up at an army recruitment center in Kiev one morning in November, only 1 was there voluntarily. This meager queue was described as a far cry from the thousands of volunteers who lined up at recruitment centers in last February. General Zelensky, in his controversial comment about there being a stalemate, also stated that Ukraine badly needed to build up their reserves. And I quote, "Our capacity to train reserves on our own territory is very limited. We cannot easily spare soldiers who are deployed to the front. Russia can strike training centers, and there are gaps in Ukraine's legislation that allows citizens to evade their responsibilities," he said. According to a BBC investigation, nearly 20,000 Ukrainian men evaded call-up notices, either by slipping out of the country in defiance of an exit ban or fraudulently acquiring permission to leave. Ukrainian officials and Western analysts say it is not just a question of numbers, but of fitness, capability, and skills. The average age of Ukrainians at the front and those trained by Western allies has been 30 to 40 years old rather than the usual 18 to 24. All of these reasons combined are likely what led President Zelensky to call for the swift ramp-up in the preparation of defensive capability, according to the Kiev Post.
Direction of Kiev, with the Ukrainian president finally saying he's ready to go from offense to defense.
In all major areas where we need to boost and accelerate the construction of structures. Of course, we're primarily focused on Avdiivka, Marinka, and other areas in the Donetsk region, like the Kharkiv region, the direction of Kupiansk, as well as the Kupiansk-Liman defense line, the entirety of Kharkiv, Sumy, Chernigov, Kiev, and Volyn regions, as well as the South Kherson region.
Western observers and Russian bloggers now anticipate large-scale offensives by Russia in the spring of next year. Serhiy Nayev, the commander of the Joint Forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, recently said the war could spread beyond the eastern and southern areas if Russia continued its escalation in weapon production and military technology through alliances with partners. In summary, according to Russia Matters, in the month of November, Russian forces have gained 12 square miles of Ukrainian territory, while Ukrainian forces gained a mere 5 square miles. The battlefield developments prompted Ukrainian President Zelensky this week to admit that Ukraine's counteroffensive did not produce the desired results. At the same time, however, The Economist warned in its analysis of the conflict that, and I quote, "For the first time since Putin invaded Ukraine on February last year, he looks as if he could win." Those of you who follow my channel know that this admission by The Economist is quite belated, but to find out what a Putin victory might mean for the evolving world order as theorized by a European think tank, I advise you to look at this video right here.